Alright, did a little more review, then we went and talked about databases today, primarily. So, things the students should be able to do. They need to be able to manage the file system, working their way through, understanding directories, paths, and so forth. They need to be able to do administrative tasks, create users, permissions, work with SC Linux, be able to back up systems, folders, areas, work with systemd in terms of they should be able to manage users and manage services. Now, we're not going to go into managing all the services, but we allowed them to install SQL, MySQL, relational database, Apache web server, and we haven't done much with Perl or Bash yet, but we'll do a little bit of that here to finish up the year. And then today we talked again a little bit about this backup process, compressing, copying, and then scheduling a task to do that, and we reviewed the Chrome tab again. But they just need to do a couple of those and practice them. Okay? So, then we did a little bit of work with database, and I'm not going to go through all this, but we talked about a school database, and then we talked about students, ID, name, city-state zip, but we changed that to be a separate table with city-state zip and put all the cities in there. We did this very quickly. We talked about graduation date, date of birth, maybe parents. And then we talked a little bit about courses. We'd have all this information in the courses. Then we talked about the students actually taking a course. In courses there, we talked about instructors. Maybe we'd have an instructor, and the instructor would be listed with the courses. And then we'd have this scenario right here. We talked about city. So we did that a little bit on database. And that was really it for today. We touched the entire board here. And we did some examples online with the database work, and I'll post those also. So that's it. Alright, this is Monday, week 3 of 4 weeks of summer class. And so we highlighted where we're going. We're going to go over the test tomorrow. This is an OS2. We talked about command line and being able to use the GUI. Students should be able to do the command line stuff in the GUI, not all of it primarily, and then our goal is to be able to write some scripts, being able to, at this point we should be able to do some file management and some user management, create groups, and probably not directly tied to those two would be schedule some tasks. We did a little bit of scripting, and our next step today and tomorrow, install some servers. So today we did the Apache server, and I wasn't able to capture that today, so I might have to do that on a separate process, and then the MySQL server we'll do tomorrow. And I'll see if I can capture that. I have a few issues with my computer. And then we finish up the class with some scripting. So, before we went into installing the servers, we finished up some of the security. We talked about going from sending a message from B to A, and our first step was to hash it in order to verify integrity, so we know it didn't change. Then we talked about using a key to encrypt it for confidentiality, decrypt it when it gets over here. And then we talked about the whole idea of using a private and public key. So we could send the message, and what we could do is get the public key from the other side to encrypt it. And then when it gets over here, they can use the private key to decrypt it. And then to put a digital signature on it, we can hash it and use our private key to encrypt it, send that hash and the public key over, so when it gets to the other side, they can decrypt it with the public key. And then they can take the original message and hash that and compare the two hashes. And if they match, then they know it was signed. And then we went through Diffie-Hellman. And I'm not going to go through all the steps, but I'll show what we have. We started out with Diffie-Hellman. The idea is trying to be able to get a key for both sides. This was our shared information, G and P. Here's our algorithms and our first calculation. Then on the other side, same G and P, except they used their own private piece of information and calculated it. And then the B value was sent over here, and the A value was sent over here, and using their information again, calculated it. A was 4, then their private key was 3, so 4 to the third power mod 7, we got 1, and B turned out to be 6, and so we took 6 to the second power because 2 was our private key. That would be the A there. So we take 6 to the second power mod 7, and we get 1. So that was the work on the board today.